Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Hi everyone. Recently I'm having some problem with my left ear, which means I don't know how you can hear me because I can't hear from the left side. I only can hear from my right side. It's because of my a problem that I just had faced recently, and I'm now having treatment for that. So I think everyone can hear me. Hey, you there? Can you hear me? Yes. And you? He died? Okay then. Cool. So when I was studying in 5th standard, I had a teacher. I think most of the students may have started their learning the journey of Hindi language from their 5th standard, I think like that. And I also started like that. And surprisingly, my teacher came and made a test. And she came with the answer paper the next day, and everyone got a paper, except me. So I was wondering why. But I was sure that I don't have a good marks. So when I was thinking like that, she said, "Hey you, stand up." And she told me to stretch my hands out. "Show me your hands," she said that. So I was startled and shocked by her reaction. It was only me she called and told me to show me your hand. At that time, I showed, and I'm sure that it's going to be bad. And she hit me with the stick for the one time. So I thought, it's just a class test, or dictation or something like that, I don't remember. But it's just a class test. So it might be one hit, or maybe two, but the count started 2, 3, and 4. And it ends with 4. Which means I got beaten 4 times for losing a Hindi class test, and I was scored 5 out of 25. From that time onwards, I was thinking why I can't be the person with the people that can pass with a great mark. And that was the first time that I faced a disadvantage in my life. So I thought, how can I make it? But anyway, we only remember the fruitful days of our life. We will forget the kind of the barrenness, the bitterness that we face in our life very fast when we have the fruitness of the success in our life. And after 5 years, when I completed my SSLC, I was the top with most marks in Hindi language. And do you know why I make it? I don't remember how I made it, but the thing that made me as an advantage was the thing that I was seeing cartoons. Like I was a fan of Chota Bheem and a fan of Pogo. I really love that shows. And these things were speaking, or the cartoons were in Hindi language itself. And that made me, and my sister is also, she admires the Hindi serials. I mean, most of some cliches, some dramas, house dramas, some romantic, something like that. But I used to watch with her because she wasn't gonna give me the remote to change the channel to cartoon. So it was compulsory for me to have an entertainment with her by watching the serial, which was also in Hindi language. So I don't know how I made it, but by hearing this kind of thing, somehow it came inside my mind. I mean the Hindi language. So the reason why I started with this story is something that I want to explain now. Because recently, I was on the verge of failure for the first time in my WAFY life, which means I was almost to fail for the first time in my life in the WAFY life. And that was, I think, a couple of days ago, during the time of HIF exam. And I was really shocked, I mean, tension, anxiety, everything was flowing through my mind because I lost the first time, and I'm a person that cannot, what we can say, by heart the verses I mean, in a way, too much faster. And it is only because of me, because I didn't try it when I was home, and before that I didn't try, and I was trying just before 2 days. And that time, the second chance was at night, and I was walking through the verandas of this college, this campus, and I was reciting again and again and again. But at that time, before then, I mean, when I failed first time, I was happy because I'm having a chance, second chance. Okay, I'm happy, and I was reciting it, and I'm fully completed, and I had the confidence that I can finish it. But when the time hits, the bell rang, then I was starting to feel tension inside me, and I tried to I completely recited, but I couldn't. I failed twice and thrice, and even fourth time I also failed while I was reciting myself by walking through this veranda. But anyway, I sat in a place there, in the place where there is ladders, and I asked myself, okay, if you lose, what will happen? If you lose, what will happen? You had lost one time when you was in 5th standard, and you took that as an advantage instead of making it as a disadvantage, and you did it when after 5 years. So if you lose here, then it's a keystone to the next level. So remember one thing: failure is not a kind of thing that we have to be repeatedly. Failure means fuck off, which means Moonji in Malayalam. But anyway, if we had Moonji one time, it's okay, we have the second chance. It is not like the failure. So I took it in that sense, and I made my second shot, and I decided completely, and my beloved mentor said, Munavvar, you have passed. I felt some kind of happiness that I never felt before. It was لم أشعر بهذا الشعور من قبل. صدحت العصافير في قلبي. It is a literal meaning for മനസ്സിൽ ലഡ്ഡുപൊട്ടി صدحت العصافير. هل سمعتم? Yes. Anyway, I don't know. Shabir Ustad is here, and I learned. I remembering that. Anyway, and that was the feeling that I couldn't explain. And at that time, I felt some kind of energy that I never had before. And I went to library, not for sleep. I'm not boasting or bragging myself, but I went to library because I had some kind of energy flowing through my veins. And I went to library, and I was hearing our beloved leader, Rahul Gandhi's speech right at that time from library. Listening. And at that time, I saw a book with almost 500 or 600, I don't know, I think almost 1,000 pages it contains. And it was the book of the famous philosopher and a diplomat. I call him a diplomat because I read a story from that book. His name is Ibn Khaldun. And how many of you read Muqaddimah? Yeah, its size is huge, its volume is huge. But I thought that we are hearing repeatedly from our dean about the value of reading. And I thought, this person here, the person who wrote the book, was admired and adorned by most of the foreign, the European philosophers, thinkers, every person, even I think more than the people from Arab. Because he was admired by these people more than the people from our community. So I thought, this person who wrote the book, and this book is available in my own eyes, and what will happen that I just couldn't know anything about this person. So somehow I turned off my earphone and started to turn the pages of the Muqaddimah, and I read the introduction of the introduction, and from that I learned about a person who is himself a warrior. I will only define him like that because he was a person who changed the course of Egypt, most of the African civilization, not only Egypt civilization, African civilization. And have you heard about Timur, the king, the great conqueror, Turk-Mongol conqueror, Timur? He is a conqueror. And I have a friend here, he is a fan of Ertugrul. Ertugrul. And Munavvar. He has given, from Kitab Sunnah, he has devoted his night for watching that series, and he has completed it. But anyway, he knows how well the Mongols can what we can say, they are brutal and deadly, and that was the kind of habit or character that Timur, the king, the great conqueror, that the history itself defined him as a great conqueror, and he was on the doors of Damascus, which means Damascus was under Egypt. And at that time, Ibn Khaldun, the world's most famous philosopher, was inside Damascus as an advisor for the king Faraj, I think. Yeah, not Faraj. And anyway, this Timur was one of the greatest conqueror and militarily ran a tactician. At the same time, he is brutal and deadly, because he even eat people. Even when he saw people in front of him that they are not willing to surrender, he will conquer them by killing without any mercy. That is the kind of Timur that is described by the history. And he was known as the thunderbolt of Transoxania by Toynbee. That's kind of name that I just read. He was a historian, and he told that he was the thunderbolt of Transoxania. Anyway, he was leading his force in front of Damascus, and Damascus was fortified. Only the door was there. And Timur was a person who loves philosophy, who loves arts, and he came to know that Ibn Khaldun is inside this Damascus, inside his fort. So he asked the diplomats, the military armies, to make an agreement or to invite, and he invited Ibn Khaldun to visit him. But the army was scared because they are trying to jump at them. The Timur emperor and his parties are trying to jump at them. And at the same time, here Ibn Khaldun is inside, and he invited him to his part. So the army leaders told that they won't gonna open the doors because it's not safe, unsecure. We can't open the door. At that time, what Ibn Khaldun did was massively an unprecedented encounter that just happened in the history of humankind. He took the ladder and rope and jumped through the walls to meet this cruel conqueror, deadly and brutal person that has ever lived in the history of Turk-Mongol, Timur. He was just going into the cave of a lion without having a fear. But anyway, that encounter led to Timur to withdraw his parties, his armies from Damascus and free Damascus, which was not only the success of Damascus, it was the success and the course that changed the Egyptian civilization and at the same time African civilization, which means he is not only a person as a philosopher. So what he did was he took his own philosophy and his own admirations as an advantage, and he did a thing that no one can do. And the thing that I want to say that I was doing while reading this book was hearing the speech of Rahul Gandhi. You know Rahul Gandhi, what's the meaning for Tadhiya in English? Sacrifice? Yeah. He sacrificed his life. He's sacrificing his life for the sake of India. Maybe we can see like that. Or he's dedicating his life itself. He's dedicating his life for the people of India, because when he was facing so many problems and from the side of the ruling party, he decided to go for a journey. And it was a speech delivered, in Stanford University in USA for the students. And he did that, and in his speech he described about the journey of Bharat Jodo Yatra, and he explained it as one of the things that he was facing at that time, a disadvantage, and he took that disadvantage to know more about the people of India. And on the way he came with a person, I think his name is Mustafa something, and that person was eager to meet Rahul Gandhi, and Rahul Gandhi held his hand with his to his shoulder. They stood in arm in arm. At that time, Rahul Gandhi recognized one thing: he doesn't has an arm. So to make him comfort, Rahul Gandhi took off his hand, and he started to ask him, "What's your name? Where are you from? And what you're doing? What's your job?" And the job that he said replied that he was a mechanician, an automobile mechanician. He was, "What? An automobile mechanician? You didn't have any kind of hand? And then how you gonna hold the heavy stuff from your garage?" That was the thing that was going inside the mind of Rahul Gandhi. But he didn't ask. So he told to him, "Okay then, we can go to your garage and look for what, and we can see what you are doing." And they both went to his garage, and what he saw was mind blowing, because he was working with his legs. He was holding and weighing up the weight that Rahul Gandhi even couldn't hold within his arm. He is just holding it on his legs, which means there is a way that we can make our disadvantage into some kind of advantage. The only thing that we have to do is to recognize these things. Disadvantage or the setback, the drawbacks will happen in our life. It's usual. But we have to recognize it and make it and use it for the sake of your advantage. And that was that person did. And that was Rahul Gandhi meant with his Bharat Jodo Yatra. And that was even Ibn Khaldun did. He took his advantage he took that disadvantage as an advantage for his life, for the improvement of his life. So I'm not prolonging my words, because it's time to because when the words are very too much, it will be hard to handle. And anyway, the last but least, one thing that I want to ask is there any person who went to military training or looking for military training or to become an army person? Anyone? Naufal, yeah, I heard about Naufal. And in army, when I read the book 3 Cups of Tea, there is a person. His name is Greg Mortensen. He is an American and a mountaineer. And he studied, and he had to work in the time of summertime, which means the time of vacation. He had to work for his family, to make some money, to make some pocket money, something like that. So while the students sleep at the time of summer and enjoying their vacation, he was working. And where he was working? He was working in a military training camp for 2 months. And in that one, what we can see, he just told that the military people will come in during the time of morning. And this all the thing is going to be over. So I need your attention. This last word that I'm gonna speak right here now, it's a catchy one. So I need everyone's attention right now. And this military surgeon will come into the hostel early in the morning, and he will knock the doors of the hostel, and he will say, "It's time to drop your cogs and grab your socks." And that's the thing finally that I want to say to you. It's time to wake up and do the job. By saying this, let me conclude. I hope you enjoyed. Wa akhir da'wana billahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.